I am the genie of the island. I'm here to help you. Good luck. Hello, select abracadabra. Kanabayin mo now.
Black 2.
Final lap.
Wrong way.
You must find 8 from each level and win, and then come back to see me. I've got something special for you.
By a mountain.
You won first prize.
Jungle Falls. Ancient Lake. Get ready! Go! Way! Power up! Let's do! Tuffle Canyon. Get ready. Go! Lap 2. Final lap. Go for it. The Tough Volcano. Get ready. Go!
Fantastic. If you can beat me again, I'll give you a special prize.
Wrong way. No, no, no. Wrong way.
Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies both for the lack of commentary and for the slightly uninformed commentary going forwards. I'll do my best. Not a Diddy Kong racer here. I'm Mythical 9, and I'm gonna help cast this race. I do know a little bit about Diddy Kong racing. This was a rental game for me, and I fell in love with it. And it looks like our races are pretty close. I saw JoeDamillio had seemed like he had a pretty a bit of a lead over Prakcity, but that lead is gone. Players are now neck and neck, almost 18 minutes in. They've finished with the first sort of world. I don't know what the term is. But they're done with Dinosaur Land. They're heading into Snow Land. Man, this is this is really close. Snowflake Mountain is the name of the zone. I think this is Frosty Village. JoeDamillio getting an edge just through some faster menuing, it looks like. If you haven't been watching the Diddy Kong Racing tournament so far, or you don't know anything about the speedruns, there's a lot of things the players are doing that you can't quite tell just by watching. One thing is they're letting off of the accelerator constantly. Holding down the accelerator will cause the game to kind of reduce your speed down to a maximum if it's above it because of a boost or whatever. So very frequently you're actually not holding the accelerator at all in this game, just relying on sort of coasting from boost to boost. You also don't want to be holding down the accelerator whenever you go over a boost or use a boost. That will give you that green boost that these players are getting. You don't normally get that, and that's a bigger boost. Maybe it lasts for longer. I can't remember how it works. JoeDamillio going off track a little bit there. And there, see, he got that purple boost on that zipper because he was holding down the accelerator as he went over it. Probably because he was caught off in a weird situation, and the players are back in sync. And it seems like you want to be tapping the accelerator rather than letting off of it entirely, perhaps. There's a lot of finesse to it. You really don't just kind of mindlessly go at it. You've probably noticed the players trying to go for pauses right at the end of the race by landing the pause right as you finish the race and exiting. You get credit for winning, but you don't have to watch the cutscene where Taj comes by and hello there, gives you the balloon and everything. I think it's probably frame perfect, but you can kind of buffer it a bit with some pauses as you approach the starting line. JoeDamillio going to get this key that's hidden way off track. This is one of my favorite parts about this game, actually, is the key is and the silver coins. These wrinkles they add to the tracks, forcing you to not only have to incorporate going to this weird off-track location in the middle of a race, but in the case of the keys, it's fun to actually just kind of explore a track in a way you're not supposed to, quote-unquote, and find this key hidden in the middle of nowhere. Pretty fun stuff. So Prakcity, just a couple seconds ahead here. The players have been going back and forth. This is really close. We're pretty far into the tournament at this point, so I'm not surprised to see the race be so close. We saw some kind of cutscene skip thing happen there that I'm honestly not too familiar with. But suddenly the players are neck and neck once again. Heading into Everfrost Peaks, I think this is. And now they're in a plane. Well, they've been in a plane before. This is it's the first time they've been in a plane since I started talking. And the plane physics are really weird. You can get these boosts in the air as well as on the ground, so you'll see them kind of dipping into the ground as much as possible. And you're going to see them barrel roll a lot. Because it preserves your speed, even increases your speed in a really weird way. You can watch the right side of the screen. JoeDamillio has the speedometer, and you can see it just chilling way out, maxed at the top there, as long as you keep doing those spins, those barrel rolls. It does mean you can't really steer while you're doing it, so it's tricky. It's tricky to line yourself up ahead of time to do an extended series of barrel rolls. Ooh, bouncing off the tree there is JoeDamillio losing all his speed, taking a while to build it back up, and that means Prakcity jumps out to another 1 second lead or so. Also some cutscene business for JoeDamillio. You get an idea of how much, or for Prakcity rather, JoeDamillio now out in front. First one into Walrus Cove, I think is the name of this track. You can see the players holding right on this loop-de-loop. It goes a little faster, and I've never heard a good explanation as to why. I mean, I guess the loop does kind of lean to the right, but I feel like that shouldn't change it. But it does, so you're going to see them mashing right up against the right side of that loop as they go through it. JoeDamillio, wow, was a full lap ahead, but after careening with that wall, loses a bit of time there. He's on his final lap now, as is Prakcity. One of the NPCs in Praxity's screen grabbed one of the balloons, and I briefly thought for a moment, oh, he's caught up to JoeDamillio. JoeDamillio's just ahead of him, grabbing the balloons. Not quite. How cool would it be if we were doing some kind of online versus race? Would be a totally different dynamic. But that's not what's going on. It is two very much separate games happening on the left and right sides of the screen. JoeDamillio is out in front. He's going to be the first one unlocking the door to this quote-unquote boss fight. We got ourselves a walrus with a really dapper bib on himself. Very respectable. And this boss fight takes place in a hovercraft. You're going to be seeing a lot of this in the third world, third area, zone, not sure what they call it. The hovercraft has its own unique quirks to it, to going fast. You can see JoeDamillio and now Prakcity doing these this snaking maneuver. Every time I've messed around with trying to get it to work, I always end up going slower than if I didn't do it. But if you do it right, you do go quite a bit faster. You wouldn't think so. I don't know what physics behind it is making that happen, but that's the case. And when you're not snaking and you're not using all these fancy speed tricks... Ooh, trying to go for some kind of skip there, I think, was JoeDamillio. We'll see if Prakcity... Nope, he's not even going for it. Just a straight line all the way down. Got resets from both players. Don't need to see that cutscene of the walrus telling you to take on his silver coin challenge, which is maybe my favorite part of this game, actually. You may think the part where it makes you play all the tracks again for an obtuse reason would be really lame, but it's cool. You have to finish in first place while also detouring around the course to pick up the 8 silver coins that are littered around the place. And sometimes they're in some pretty evil locations, but we'll get to that in a bit. First, we gotta race Taj again. This time we're in the hovercraft. There's 3 races against Taj with all 3 vehicles. But yeah, in the speedrun, they make those boss races look really trivial because of all the tricks they're doing to go faster than the game intends. But if you actually play this, the bosses are usually, you know, right behind you, if not constantly trading places with you, and they can actually be pretty hard sometimes, especially that octopus. Oh man, I really don't like that octopus. We'll see him later. Anyway, speedrunners who know how to go fast, you barely see the boss at all. They just blow right past him. Kind of like the way both players are blowing past Taj right now. They got that snaking going on. They're both looking pretty good. JoeDamillio's got himself a bit of a lead here. As much of a lead as I've seen between these two players in this race so far. Yeah, also worth pointing out they're playing as TT. There's 10 characters in this game, and I think this is one of the situations where generally heavier characters are better. Usually because they have a higher top speed is usually why, and I think this game might be the same. But there's 2 secret characters, Drumstick and TT. Drumstick you unlock just by running over a frog with a rooster thing on its head. But TT you unlock by beating a ghost on all the tracks in time trials mode. And they're actually pretty hard for casual play. But yeah, TT just kind of has better stats than everyone else, so he's the go-to for the speedrun. Oh, this is one of my favorite tracks in this game. I almost don't want to say anything and just listen. Or even worse, sing along, God forbid. This is a pretty fun track though, because the boosts chain together very nicely. Spend very little time not boosting. Yeah, that's the track and the track. They're both great. JoeDamillio getting some kind of crazy boost there. We'll see if Prakcity can get whatever that was. Yep. I think making up some ground there on the follow-up boost. Lots of time to be saved with these tricky hovercraft levels. Oh, I guess... No, I'm not quite sure what's causing that camera getting a little glitched out on Prakcity's side of the screen. Just a couple turns behind Joe now. I was definitely a tip-top main when I played this. Joe is across the finish line. Shortly behind is Prak. Looks like Prakcity was not able to get the cutscene skip, as well as Joe. So opportunity lost for both of them to either catch up or widen the lead, respectively. And I think this is Treasure Island. And I also think this is the one with the key. So the players are going to have to detour at some point. And it's really awkward. You need to kind of drive out into the water in a car to get this key. The game screen is likely being recorded by a capture card, which is a device that kind of takes whatever the game is spitting out, and in addition to spitting it out to your TV, it'll also spit it out to something like your computer, where you can record it, capture it, live stream it. Lots of players use it. There was some talk earlier about playing on an emulator. I'm not sure. N64 emulation has historically been a little weird, and it's very important that it run accurately when you're talking about speedruns. So there might be cases where emulators are not an option, especially when it comes to N64 games. There are 2 timers because, well, I'm not sure why the timers are quite as different as they are, but both players are running their own timers on screen on their different streams. Looked like Joe got the pause skip at the end there. Prak also gets it. Good job by both players. Yeah, the timers are totally up to the players. The players are running them on their end. It's just kind of for our convenience to be able to see them. Our convenience and theirs. It can be information for them to be able to look at what their pace is like compared to the timer. So if they think like, oh man, I'm really not doing good, they might go for something a little risky. Try to catch up. But yeah, sometimes a player does something wonky with their timer and they get a little weird. That's fine. I'm pretty sure the players are in sync. To reiterate, they're playing as TT, secret character. There's a little clock guy who's running around outside the levels in the little hub zones. And his name is TT for TikTok time trials. I don't know, but there's probably multiple puns involved there. And he's like a secret character, and he's got the best stats, so that's why these guys are playing as TT. JoeDamillio finishing up Whale Bay, Prakcity as well. Both players staying very close to each other. And now we have this evil octopus. Just look at him.
Now I challenge you to a race.
So on this difficulty, I think the octopus leaves behind spike balls. Might be oil spills. But if you get out in front of him, it's not really a problem. So not going to be a problem for either of these two players. Pretty much all three vehicles have different ways of going faster than the developers intended. The hovercraft, you've got the snake technique. With the plane, you've got the barrel roll technique. And the player's actually starting to lap the octopus, so now the hazards the octopus leaves behind actually becoming a problem. And with the car, you've got the sliding, which I guess is probably intended to be faster, but it is a way of going faster in the car. Octopus done for Joe. Prakcity's saved up all the boosts, so he gets this really dramatic looking super boost to the finish where the camera can't even keep up. Speed tapping instead of holding, thanks. Again, I'm definitely not an expert in this game, I'm just filling in. So I appreciate the backup and knowledge from the chat. It's good stuff. We got some plane races against Taj. Got a nice loop-de-loop from Prakcity that I'm gonna go ahead and guess was a mistake. On Speed Gaming, we do speedrun content of all kinds, but we have a big focus on tournaments, on competitive play. This is the Diddy Kong Racing Tournament. We have a number of tournaments going on at the time, like A Link to the Past, Randomizer. Later today on this channel, we're going to have Final Fantasy 1 Randomizer. You can see all the things that we have going on the schedule if you follow that link, and you can also scroll down on our Twitch page for a big list of all kinds of links. Yeah, I know speedrunning is kind of inherently competitive to some degree, but what I mean is like head-to-head speedrunning races and such. I mean, you could argue that speedrunning is mostly about you're competing with yourself more than other people, but I mean, it depends, right? Some games are very competitive and people are actually competing against each other actively for records and such. But we're talking about the head-to-head aspect, which can introduce some interesting additions to the gameplay. So the players are back in Ancient Lake. And I gotta admit, I don't 100% understand I think it might be part of a glitch where like you complete. Oh, they're doing the trophy races. Okay, that one got me for a second. Trophy races are you do all the races. It's like a Grand Prix in Mario Kart. So Joe is like almost a lap ahead here, 2/3 of a lap. Again, not too much of a lead. But about as much of a lead as we've seen between these two players so far. Maybe it's more like half a lap. But also on speed gaming here, we do other things. We do other events, marathons and stuff. We help host lots of marathons and other events. The big one that we organize ourselves that we're really proud of is the SNES Superstars Marathon that takes place in the spring. I would love to see some co-op competitive style stuff. One of the things we do is in Ocarina of Time. We restream. Sometimes we organize the event, sometimes we mostly are just on the restream side of things, coordinating the broadcasts, which I think is the case for the Ocarina of Time example I'm about to cite, which is getting way off topic, by the way. I do want to disrespect the racers. They are doing fantastic. They're moving on to Fossil Canyon, I believe. It's weird that I'm pulling the names of these tracks based off of the names of the soundtracks, because I like the soundtrack to this game so much that I listen to it sometimes. So I'm like, oh, this is this song. Oh, so this is Fossil Canyon, I think is the name. Anyway, JoeDamillio finishing. This track is so fast. So I was going to say, oh, he's like a lap ahead, but a lap ahead is only like 15 seconds. And now they're on to Hot Top Volcano, which has a delightful glitch where boosting and barrel rolling into the lava in just such a way gets you out of bounds. And I think Joe missed a checkpoint. No, okay, some shenanigans is happening. Oh boy. That was something. Where are we even? That was,
Hey, what's up?
Hey, we have someone who knows the game, I think.
Yeah.
That's good. Can you explain what just happened in Hot Top Volcano there?
Yeah, that's the wrong warp. So basically what happened there is that there's a loading zone underneath the finish line. And if you drive into it, you warp to another place in the world, basically. And why they did that is because they did the 4th race of the trophy and warp out. And when they do that, the game still thinks that we're in the trophy. So you can leave and go to another world, and then you can basically dupe the trophy. It's like the short explanation. So you will see both, Prakcity and Joe are going to different worlds. I didn't see which warp they got, but Joe is probably doing the optimal route, going to Sherbet Island. But I didn't see which warp Prakcity got, because the outcome of the wrong warp is RNG based. So yeah. So basically, depending on which warp you get a different route. Yeah, double card. Okay.
I thought I saw them both. Well, I guess the first part is you always end up in the 4th area.
No. It's there are 3 different outcomes, and one is getting to the entrance of the Dragon Forest with a car, and you can also end up in the middle of the Dragon Forest in a plane, and also in the overworld with the vehicle you were last using.
Weird.
So yeah, it's kind of weird. But you see Prakcity, for example, he's committing suicide, and also Joe, and you see, as I said, the game still thinks that they're in the trophy, so they get points for the trophy, and yeah, they get the trophy by losing. Because
only in speedruns do you get the trophy by losing.
Yeah, because what happened there is, as I said, the game still thought that you were in the trophy race. So when you lost the minigame, you got a fourth place, and they won the first 3 races, and then it counts as the last race of the trophy. And the game actually checks for where you are at the when you finish the last race, and not when you started the trophy. So that means that he got both of them got the trophy for the respective world they're in. So now they have already done the trophy of this world, and usually when you do when you play the game normally, you do the trophy last. Yeah, sorry for not being here earlier. I woke up like 5 minutes ago, so but I saw that you needed commentary, so I just jumped in.
Than never. I was doing my best, but there are definitely some gaps, especially with some of the newer stuff like well, it might not be new to you, I don't know. But the wrong warp definitely caught me by surprise, so good timing on that one.
Yeah, the wrong warp, it has been known for quite a long time, but it hasn't always been used in 100%. It was found back in like 2013-ish, but it was only used for any % back in the day, and there was actually a community vote for the wrong warping, because we didn't think it had anything positive for 100%, but it did. So back in May 2014, we had a community vote if we should include the wrong warp or not, and the main reason against the wrong warp is because we were debating what is 100%. Is it to collect everything or to do everything in this game?
There you can get into some. It's unclear, right? So there's room for interpretation, and that can lead to that sort of thing. Exactly.
So it was basically, since it's a racing game and they don't really show you a 100% score or anything like in Donkey Kong, or we had to pretty much decide, and when it was decided to have the definition collect everything, then the wrong warp trophy duping was allowed, basically. But we were voting for it, and that's the thing that won by a long shot. It was way ahead.
Oh well, that's good. It didn't end up with like a 51-49 awful split of the community.
Yeah, I mean there were way fewer runners back then, but I think it was like a 13-2 vote or something like that.
So someone asked a good question that I'm not sure we're able to answer: is who's in the lead?
Who's in the lead? Yeah, it's pretty difficult to tell since they both took different routes. But let's see. Yeah, it's hard to tell because they're both in the 3rd race of their worlds. JoeDamillio did a longer... Let's see here. Yeah, Darkwater Beach, the minigame, is longer. So he's probably... Joey's probably ahead, but Frosted Village is a longer race than Treasure Caves. The first races they did in the world after. So yeah, it's hard to tell. They're very even, actually. It's really even.
Yeah, you've missed the first half or so of the race, and that's definitely been the story of the race. We had a couple lead changes, and they've never been further than a lap apart.
Yeah. So it's not that unexpected. Their PBs are like a minute and a half apart. Joe is he has been like a top player for a longer time, so he has the most experience with the game. Joe has actually played the game at AGDQ once, at AGDQ 15. He was in a 100% race with Oxfuzz and Tofu.
Oh, I didn't actually know that. I come from the 16-bit corner of speedrunning, so JoeDamillio is and Castlevania. Never really
nice.
As Diddy Kong, but like here he is, clearly, very very good at this game.
Yeah, I mean, JoeDamillio has been playing multiple games at AGDQ as well. He has been playing A Link to the Past, Castlevania 4. He has been playing Diddy Kong Racing and Disney's Aladdin. So he has a lot of experience of games done quick. Yeah, so now you see Joe going to the boss, and Prakcity is on the last lap of the last race. But yeah, I could pretty much assure you that Joe is ahead, but it's hard to say by how much. Thing is though, if they get a similar warp on the next warp, they do the wrong warp thing, the routes will sync up after the next world.
Prac missing the. Is it frame perfect to get the pause on the finish line?
Yes.
Yeah.
One frame.
And this is a 30 frames per second game?
I think so. I'm not sure, but it's I think like the timer updates. I think it's like one. I would say that it's like a 1 in 10. That's what it feels like, because if you pause it, no wait, I'm saying 1 in 20. So I don't know. Hard to tell. Because if you just like do pause buffering, it will get up by like 5 at a time, which should mean there's like 1 in 20. I'm not sure. I'm not that good with that stuff. But the thing is, there's like a small buffer. When you do the pause and you unpause, you can't instantly press start, because it's not going to register too early. So you have to have a good good timing to do the pause buffer, or the pauses.
Prakcity missed a boost, and I think it threw him off his rhythm a little bit here in the Walrus race.
Yeah. Are there other things that you've seen that you wonder about?
Do you go faster on that slope on the right-hand side, or is that just like a shortest distance between 2 points thing?
I think it's like when you go like downhill a little, you go a little faster. So you can see on the speedometer that you go a little faster if you go on the slope, but not all the runners do that. But it's like what do you prefer? I think it's slightly faster if you do it correctly, but it's not a big deal. But one of the things in this game in general is that you want to keep your speed as high as possible, obviously, but it's actually a lot of things that makes you go slower. So you need to learn how to not drop in speed. That's like a huge thing. Mm-hmm. And the thing people mainly do is that like they start holding A, or like tapping the A button, because you tap the A button instead of holding it, because that makes you go faster. And you want to do it as you're about to drop speed. You don't want to do it too early. And the main issue people or the main thing people do wrong when they speedrun this game is that they cut the boosts off too short. That's like the main thing. So you need to optimize the boost speed you get.
So you want to not be holding A at all while boosting, and then if you have to, you want to be tapping instead of holding.
Yes. So basically all the time you see them being outside of boost, they are tapping the A button in the car. And they're also doing it sometimes in hovercraft, and also sometimes in the very rarely though, but in plane. Because in plane you usually do the barrel rolls, because they give you a boost speed. So in the plane you can basically, if you're good in the plane, you can keep your boost speed by just barrel rolling and using boosts and zippers and stuff.
Yeah, if you good being the part that needs to be emphasized, because you can't really steer while you're doing the barrel rolls, so they kind of need to be lined up ahead of time.
Yes. There are some adjustments you can do to your position in the barrel rolls. If you hold the input you do is you hold left or right and double tap the R button. But if you hold slightly down, for example, down left, for example, you will actually angle yourself up a little, you know, because it's inverted controls. So if your height is bad, or like you feel like, oh, I'm going too low, you can actually spam barrels, but you can slightly adjust your height by holding slightly down or up or whatever.
All right, I think we're wrong warping now. JoeDamillio's the first one to get to Hot Dog Volcano. He's in there.
Okay, so this is in the plane. So now we're gonna see a route change from Joe. That's a good RNG. So now you see him flying out of bounds and go to the boss. And this is something that will be beneficial later in the run. Because it's going to give you an opportunity to save more time, and maybe we should probably just like show that later, because I don't think it's easy for you to understand why it will save time now if you're not that familiar with the game.
Yeah. We'll table that for now. That's fine.
Yeah. So, but yeah, just remember that he got the plane, and that will create a route change in Dragon Forest later.
We'll see what Prakcity comes up with. For the sake of having a balanced race, we want to see the plane, but we don't.
No, we don't. This means he's going to go to Sherbet Island, because he did Snowflake Mountain before. And you will see Joe, when he's done with this boss race, he will actually leave this world, and he will do Snowflake. But yeah, now we are out of sync. And we are going to be out of sync for a pretty long time, which is a little annoying for the viewers, because it's going to be very tough to tell who's ahead. I would still say that Joe is probably like a half a minute, 40 seconds ahead. But going to be very hard to tell.
That feels like a pretty sizable lead. Is that the kind of thing where, you know, there's something to look out for where he can lose a big chunk of time?
Yes. Multiple things, but I would say that there is one thing in particular that we can expect a time loss from someone. It's when they come to Dragon Forest later, in Windmill Plains, there's an out of bounds you can do, which is the hardest clip in the speedrun. So basically, the hardest trick in the game is about like it's coming up in let's say 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, somewhere around there. The hardest trick in the game, and if you miss it once, you lose 20 seconds, and if you miss it twice, you lose 40, of course. So like by doing a small mistake on there, you can lose a huge amount of time, and it's the hardest clip in the game. So yeah,
will be an exciting moment. I saw, yeah, he did. Had a hit, fell on something, but he did it multiple times in the same spot. So I'm wondering if it was actually maybe a weirdly intentional thing where he took a tumble in the plane during the dragon race.
No, he
just the same mistake twice.
Yeah, he's never supposed to crash into anything. He just probably just hits fire because the dragon boss, he leaves fireballs behind.
Yeah, the hitboxes on those are pretty weird.
Yeah, they're pretty big, and also some of them are like hidden behind trees when you're going fast, because you can't really see them completely. And also for the mini games, you can actually do manipulation of the CPU's positions, but Joe did not get it, so he has to hunt this Pipsy down.
Come back.
Yeah, and now she's down in the basement. So he's losing a bunch of time here. There's a strat that I created a while ago. That has a really consistent, like it's a really consistent, really fast setup, but it doesn't always work. I didn't see if he did a mistake for it not to work, but it's sometimes it screws you over. That's for sure.
Well, here we are. That was
yeah.
chunk of Joe's 40 seconds just got eaten up, I guess.
Yeah, he probably lost around 20 seconds on that. And I'm not sure, like, I mean, Prakcity has already done his minigames now, so yeah.
So there's the suicide done, and then
Yeah, and
magically materializes.
Yeah, because, you know, the game thinks they're in the trophy race, and they quote-unquote finish the last trophy race, so they get the trophy. So yeah, but it's good. Like, yes, you can ask me questions as well, because I'm guessing that a lot of them appear in the when you watch when you're not that into the game. Let's see.
I'm always impressed by how fast speedrunners are able to go in the hovercraft.
Yeah, there are a lot of things you do. Basically, they are always holding the R button, because the R button makes your turns way smoother. And one of the main things people do wrong, like as casual players, is that they don't use the R button too much. So their turns get, like, if you try to turn sharply, they just stop. They're like stop. But if you hold the R button and you don't try to do way too sharp turns, it's really smooth to turn your hovercraft. So that's a tip if you want to try it out. But it's hard to do the snaking and stuff for, like, that kind of movement.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but it's also harder if you're using a character like Pipsy or Tipped Up, who has very sharp turning. So yeah, try to avoid them. Better to use like Conquer or Banjo or something like that. That was a good coin race from Joe. 116, I think. Cross Village is a solid time.
Both him and Prak getting their
King Vidin, yeah, they're right. That's why. They skipped the cutscene.
Yeah.
It's a 6-second cutscene, so that frame perfect trick skips 6-second time save. 6-second cutscene.
Yeah, and then at the end, like, you add that times all the races. That's a lot of time to be gained and lost through a very precise trick.
Yeah, there's 40 cutscenes in total to skip.
Ooh.
Yeah, 40 frame perfect pauses to do, and you lose 6 seconds. Okay, so in the first 4 races, if you miss one, you lose 3 or 4 seconds or somewhere around there. And at the end, if you're Funland, you will lose 12 seconds for each missed cutscene skip in the regular race, and we will see why later. But that's how it is, and that's what's gonna happen to Joe. Like, he created a situation with the Dragon Plane. He created a situation where he can do the same as he did in Future Funland, which means that he can save more time for the cutscene skips in Dragon Forest. So he's basically, if he gets all the cutscene skips, he will save around like 25 seconds more than Prakcity can do. So it's a potential time save to get that Dragon Plane warp.
We'll see if he's able to take advantage of it. He just needs to finish up with Snow Frost Peak.
Snowflake Mountain. Snowflake Mountain.
There we go.
The world
Everfrost Peak is the track that he's on. Yeah.
Yes, Everfrost Peak. And you were talking about the soundtrack, something, right? And this track has the same soundtrack as Snowball Valley. So Snowball Valley and Everfrost Peak share the same soundtrack.
Yeah. There's a couple of cases of that.
Yes. None of them in the Dino Domain, actually. But Treasure Caves and Pirate Lagoon have the same soundtrack. Everfrost Peak and Snowball Valley same. In the Dragon Forest, it's Wind Plains and Greenwood Village. And in the Last World of Future Funland, it's Star City and Space Design, which are sharing the same soundtracks.
So Joe getting the cutscene skip as well, as Prak is heading into the Octopus race.
That's right.
Will you be able to explain why holding right on the Frosty loop-de-loop makes you go faster?
Not really. It's just that it is faster.
It is.
Like,
It definitely is.
Yeah, it's a little faster. That's why they do it. Also, it has another benefit. You see, like at the end, look at the Joe's screen now. Look at the end of the loop. You will see that he will like bounce out to the left. So if you hold right and R at the same time, you will like make. You'll see it here. You see that he's like basically he gets a really good angle out of the loop, and that's something he does through holding R when he is holding to the right. So he's basically bouncing out of it.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's this technique you use to get a better angle and keep your momentum from the loop. So you can see Don't Joe here again, holding right and R, and he's going to bounce out and get a good angle. Okay, so they reset the console here to skip the cutscene where the boss is talking.
In some of these silver coin races, do you get to a point execution-wise where you don't really worry about missing the coins at all, or do you sometimes find yourself like, oh crap, I really need to get this coin on this lap now, or
Yeah.
I have to double back?
That actually does happen. Sometimes it's really bad to miss coins, because some coins are difficult to collect, and some coins, for example, look at the coin that Joe collected on lap 2 there on the Waters Cove. It's like one that is in the corner, and that one means that you need to skip a zipper, for example.
Mhm.
Like, well, you don't need to, but it's extremely hard to grab it with a zipper, so everyone skips a zipper to grab it. So if you miss it the first time, you have to skip a zipper again, which is really annoying. But sometimes it's really bad to miss. For example, the best example is in Darkmoon Caverns, because they have 2 coins that are placed before the loops. And what that means, and you can't backtrack through a loop. So missing like one of those coins for the first 2 laps is like uh-oh. Please don't make me lose the next time, because if you miss it on all 3 laps, you have to restart the race. You have to restart it because you can't backtrack. So yeah, there are definitely a bunch of coins that feel really weird. And like, you know, I'm not sure if you saw it in Frosty Village. In the the big slope down to the houses, there are coins on both sides.
Right.
So missing one of those coins twice means that you have to grab one on each side on the same lap.
Yeah, which is you're doing some kind of figure 8 nonsense at that point.
Yeah, basically you just have to like go down there and then drive all the way over to the other side and grab it. So it's really bad. So yeah, that's definitely the case. Some coins you really don't want to miss, and yeah, skipping zippers and stuff is usually the thing you have to do. So it means that you go slower. So it's usually really annoying to miss some of the coins. There are many cases of that. We can probably talk about them later when they appear.
Meanwhile, we've got Prakcity a couple, or a race ahead, I guess.
Yes.
No, two in this trophy race.
Yes. And this time they're actually going to finish the Dino Domain trophy, because they haven't done it yet. They only finished the one in Sherbet Island and the one in Snowflake Mountain, right? Since they were doing the trophy storage glitch through the wrong warp. But this time they need to actually beat this world. So they are going to finish this race normally. So you will see the Hot Tub Volcano out of bounds glitch, but they will finish the race with it this time and not do the wrong work. And as you can see, Mike is asking if Joe is still ahead, and probably yeah, but it's kind of close. I would still say it's like around half a minute between them. Joe's probably about half a minute ahead. Their routes are synced up, and it looks like Joe is behind, because he's a couple of races behind, but remember that he has already done the race versus Smokey, the dragon. So he's that boss race and the cutscenes around it ahead of Prakcity. and we usually say it's around 2 minutes 20. And as you can see, Prakcity is one Fossil Canyon and one Jungle Falls ahead, which is about 105 plus 40 or somewhere around there. Oh damn, Joe hitting the bubble, which is pretty punishing.
Yeah, the momentum carried him all the way off track.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's like 140-ish, 145-ish, but he has saved like 220, or like he lost 220 on the Dragon Boss, so I would say that around 2.5 minutes ahead. Yeah, Joe lost a lot of time in that Fossil Canyon.
That's gonna close the gap a little bit between these two players. It's been pretty close the whole race, but I think of the past 10 minutes or so has probably been the biggest lead we've seen that Joe has had.
But Joe lost a little bit of time on the lead because of the Icicle Pyramid incident, where he didn't do it optimally, or the CPUs fell down.
Right.
So he had to hunt one of the CPUs down in the basement. But yeah, I would say that Joe is about half a minute ahead. That's my estimate. And the bad thing about this route thing is that the bad thing about this route thing is that he what was I gonna say? They are not gonna sync up until they beat the boss, the dragon boss, for the second time, and that's in like over 20 minutes.
Yep, there's still all those races, all those silver coin races.
Yeah, they have to beat the entire Dragon Forest before the routes sync up. Because you will see that Joe will. Okay, so you see Joe finishing up that, but when they're entering Dragon Forest next time, you will see Prakcity, unless he gets the plane as well. Prakcity go to Haunted Woods, and Joe will also go to Haunted Woods. But after Haunted Woods, that's for the trophy. And after that, you will see Prakcity go for Windmill Plains, but Joe will go for Boulder Canyon. So yeah, that's you will see why later. I think it's going to be easier to explain when we get there.
But for now, it's one more lap through Dino Domain.
Yes, because they finished up the Dino Domain trophy, and now they are going to do the wrong warp to get the trophy in the Dragon Forest. So if we want the routes to sync up, we want Prakcity to get the Dragon Plane here. The Dragon Forest Plane wrong warp. We just call it Dragon Plane in the community.
So fingers crossed.
Yeah. But the main thing is, let's hope for let's hope that the runners don't get the overworld warp, because they're going to Dragon Forest, and it's like a 90% chance to get to Dragon Forest. So getting to the overworld, so they have to drive into into Dragon Forest again from the outside. It's like a 15 second time loss. So yeah, it's like 10% chance it happens. So it's kind of unlikely, but it's super annoying if it happens. Like 15 seconds that you can't do anything to say, like, take them back. It's just like you just lose 15 seconds straight up.
We'll see. Praxity about to activate the wrong warp.
But he missed the trigger. So let's see, he has to turn back. He missed it again. And let's see, he should hit it here. Yeah. Okay, he lost like 10 seconds on that. Dragon Car. Okay, so he's gonna go to Haunted Woods for the trophy. And we will see Joe having an advantage in the wrong warp section.
That's right. RNG has smiled upon Joe.
Yep, that's right. But it depends. With Joe has one warp left. If he gets the overworld warp, it's kind of shitty.
Definitely not as. It's gonna cost him less time than he saved with the Dragon Plane earlier, right?
Yeah. Like, taking into account that he actually gets all the cutscene skips.
Oh, so, yes.
Yeah. that's a hard thing to, like, you know, it's frame perfect, so you can easily lose the time there, but potentially he will save more time anyways. But if he doesn't get the cut and skip, then he will probably lose more time. Let's see, Prakcity. Haunted Woods is a really tough level. It's super fast. It has two really fast and difficult parts in each lap, and it's very easy to lose time on them. So it's a track that's very short but very inconsistent, which is pretty rough. Okay, now it's time for Prakcity to go to Windmill Plains, and as I said, this is the level that has the hardest out of bounds trick in the game, and so this is the potential huge time loss you can have. Like there are a couple, of course. There are more out of bounds glitches and stuff you can lose time on, but this is the most difficult one. He got it. Okay.
Nice.
He got the trick. Yeah, but it's really hard. You can see that the map is deloading as you're driving, so it's hard, and the background is black. So it's hard to tell exactly where you are. So you have to be a little safe here. So you can just see, like, when he's driving, parts of the map are deloading and loading as weird parts. So it's yeah, very difficult out of bounds.
The triggers that are kind of placed around the map to make sure you're trying that are supposed to make sure you're going the right way.
Yes.
Is it hitting those that's causing things to load in and out?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like
Close enough.
it's like your precision on the map. Oh, okay, I missed the cuts here, but he got the out of bounds, so that's the biggest thing. Oh yeah, and okay, so look at Joe here. He's doing Smoky Castle because I was focusing so much on the out of bounds, but Joe actually got Dragon Plane Warp again.
Oh.
The 10% chance warp. He got it again, and then you can enter Smoky Castle immediately. So now he's done the money.
He doesn't need to get the key then?
He actually does need to get the key anyways, because it's a requirement for 100%.
Got it.
Because, you know, as we said, like, you need to collect everything, so we need to collect the key, because it's on the you know, if you talk to TT in the middle of the area, he can give you like a stats thing, and it shows a key, like it shows the keys.
Oh yeah, there you
go. Yeah, so you have to grab the key anyways.
That would definitely be a big save in Dragon Forest.
Yeah, that's something that people have asked a lot of times, and I actually remember Alamalicious back in the day when he was running this game more. He had a run that got it got invalid because he got the double warp and he forgot to grab the key because he thought that, like, oh damn, I got this, I can skip the key now, but you know, you can't skip the key.
Oh no.
Okay, I'm practically missing the skip again because he was so sure that he got it on the first pause that he went down.
Joe's on the final lap of Haunted Woods.
Yeah. Final lap of Haunted. Oh, he hit the second zipper. You're not supposed to do that. Because, you know, it's hard to navigate. Oh, wow. You got hit by a spikeball there, I think. That was a rough Haunted Woods. And also, in Boulder Canyon, you need to collect the key, like we were talking about earlier, and that key is really annoying to grab, so let's see. It's like the hitbox is terrible for the keys in this game. So, yeah, let's see how well he can perform it. It's a very difficult thing to do. I struggle with it a lot.
I do recall having trouble just picking up the key when I played this game.
Yeah, it's
being difficult. Like kind of embarrassed because the key looks really big.
Yep, but it's super. The hitbox is super bad. You'll see him, and he. Oh yeah, he got it immediately. Nice, really well done. And you see Joe. Okay, this is actually this is actually a routing error from Joe, but it's not a big deal. It doesn't cost him too much time, because as I said earlier, you were supposed to go to Boulder Canyon, but the reason he wanted to go to Boulder Canyon is because he needs to grab the key before he has finished 4 races. Because when you have finished 4 races in the world, you will get a cutscene for the dragon boss, but you have already done him, so you don't really want to go to him. So it's like a routing thing. But since he got Dragon Plane twice, he should go to Windmill Plains like normal, because he doesn't need to grab the key early, right? Because he has already finished the minigame. So it's a small routing error from Joe, but doesn't matter too much. But okay, someone asked in the chat why they don't grab the key on lap 1. It's because the CPUs will catch up to you, and they might hit you, or like they might like put you out of positions and stuff. And lap 2 is where the CPUs do stuff to the delays. Okay, so look at Joe. Look at this. So you see, he paused. This is the Dragon Plane thing. You see that he got the cut skip and restarted the race instead, and now he's in the coin race.
Oh. Yeah, I can see how that would save time for sure.
Yeah, so that's like the big time save. So you don't have to leave the level and then re-enter.
Now, was I imagining things, or did Joe actually slow down towards the end to make sure that he got that skip?
He doesn't try to slow down, but I guess he, like, you know, maybe he let go of the A button or something just to make it easier to get the pauses or so. Sometimes you just, like, you know, you let go of A and just tap, because he was pause buffering for the skip.
Well, either way, he's got the first one.
Yeah. And so that's the thing is, if you beat the boss first, it puts you in a state where the first boss is beaten. So basically, as soon as you beat the regular race, the coin race will be loaded, right? Because what makes the coin race loaded is that you have finished the boss.
Mm-hmm.
So here, if you finish the boss early, you can just be in the race and then restart the race with the cutscene skip, and you will get thrown into the coin challenge immediately.
Yeah, the check box is already checked that says boss defeated. So it's like, oh, you want to do this race? Well, guess what? Now this race is the coin version. Here you go.
Yeah, basically.
Very fortunate that it works out that way. Prac now doing Dragon 1. Joe has already done this entire race.
Yep. And as you can see, they are super off sync because Joe has already done the minigame as well because of the Dragon Plane warp there too. So he doesn't have to go down there at all. So he just have to finish up the actual races. And he's doing Haunted Woods now. Oops. Prakcity did a loop there on accident. And it might look weird that they do loops sometimes, but the reason that happens is because you know, when you do the double tap R and hold to the left or right, that's when you do the barrel roll. But if you don't hold any direction, or if you try to like hold a little upwards, the game does a loop instead. So it's like if you do a slight input error when you try to do a barrel roll, then you do a loop instead. Just like punishing you for not doing it entirely correctly. So we'll see Joe here, see if he gets the cutscene skip. Yeah, and if he restarts the race. And
that seems like a tough race to get it too, because you're going so fast, you're airborne.
Yeah, it's not one of the harder ones. It looks like one of the harder ones though, because yeah, you're like airborne and stuff. But we're kind of used to it. The ones that are the worst ones are usually like Whale Bay or Frost Village, because they have a lot of lag at the end of the lap. Like you boost and you go pretty fast over the goal line, so it creates a lot of lag around the goal line, which means that it sometimes eats your inputs.
Oh.
So sometimes it's really difficult to get the cuts and skips on some of those levels. And I saw Prakcity, he was backing up because in the minigames, the car minigames, you can actually start driving before the goal if you go backwards.
Just one example of many cases where developers don't account for players trying to go backwards, so there's weird restrictions that don't apply to going
it's
backwards.
Weird. But it's weird, like, it's hard to tell like what the developers wanted because it's so weird that you can back up. Because also in the hovercraft one, Darkwater Beach, you can steer, like you can turn around before the race starts, but you can't go backwards or anything, but you can still spin around. And you can all do the same in the plane one, Fireman. So you can like move in all the mini games. You can actually have like access to move. Okay, so Joe is doing the wrong of the out of bounds here, and
here we go.
Gets it.
And he gets it.
Not as clean as the one Prakcity did, but he got out of bounds, which is the important part. But yeah, now they have to hope that he doesn't clip back in bounds or something, because that is really annoying. Loses a lot of time if you clip back, because then you need to like check like, oh, which checkpoint did I hit the last?
Right.
And you need to, you know, maybe backtrack and stuff sometimes. But like the checkpoints are weird because they have checkpoints all over the map, but only a couple of them are important or like the actual. Some of the like only a couple of them are actual important triggers that you need to hit to progress through the level. So you don't have to hit all of them.
And the exclamation marks desperately trying to figure out what you're doing. And Pratt gets it again.
Yeah. Nice. That's really good for him. The exclamation point thing is actually telling you it's like always appearing at that point, like when you hit that trigger. It's not like it's because it's out of bounds that they come up and it's confused or anything. It's something that tells you about a hill.
Yeah.
It's like if it's like a hill part coming up, then that will appear.
But the information it's trying to give you doesn't exactly match what's going on with you. So it's bad news for Prac that Joe got this this clip, as well as another cutscene skip. So I guess you don't want to clip out bounds on the first lap with the silver coins.
Actually, it's faster to clip out of bounds on the first. Oh wait. Okay. I think Joe. I'm not sure what Joe. Because he's not going for that out of bounds here. I'm not sure why.
Have a boost.
Yeah. So maybe he forgot it. I'm not sure. But he grabbed all the coins and the bananas on the first lap, which is another strat. It's a little slower optimally, but it's another strat you can do. But he didn't grab the balloon on the second lap, which means that he had to go out and bounce. And it's not going to be faster to go out of bounds on the last lap, so he will just do the race entirely normally. Yeah, because Joe's race is still good. Prac's race was a little slow out of bounds, because he had problems with one of the turns. So actually,
problems getting bumped off the track there a little bit.
Yeah, that part is really annoying because there's a small bump right before the entrance. So if you drift into it, you you can just fly everywhere. Yeah, but Joe only lost like 8 seconds on that Windmill Plains because it's only one lap, and Prakcity was not doing it optimally. So and Joe did a pretty good job in bounds. So he only lost like 8 seconds. Greenwood Village coins, basically the bane of casual players.
Yep, I can speak to that.
Yeah, because
if you didn't know about the sharp turn with the like ABR, you will after getting the coins in this level.
Yeah, it's gonna be very difficult to beat it. I don't think he's cheating because he knows if he's had or not, but yeah.
Well, we do randomizers a lot on this channel, and in those cases, because you don't want to gain information about where the items are by looking at the opponent's stream, you can't. You just look at your own stream. But for these races, you can totally see what's going on with your opponent. Yeah,
because it's not like you will steal information in that sense, because in the randomizer it's it's obvious oh yeah, I can get the ice rod this early, I didn't think about that, and it's obviously cheating, but in this it doesn't matter because you just do the same things.
Yeah, well, kind of, because I think there are opportunities where, like, let's say Joe checks in he's like, oh, I got Dragon Point twice. He didn't. I know I'm ahead. Maybe that is a reason why Joe doesn't go for the clip on the second phase. Like, plays it safe or something.
It might be the case, but I mean, like, if you have a race, for example, if you have two athletes running against each other, or something like in a marathon, then obviously it's gonna affect. Like, you can check around and see, like, okay, I'm ahead of the opponents. I can chill out for the last 400 meters, or it's like
well, maybe not just like slow down for the hell of it, but like you could pace yourself differently.
Exactly. So I don't think it matters too much.
Yeah, I think it creates interesting little opportunities, another layer of strategy and gameplay on top of things. I wish you could do that in randomizer, but it just totally breaks things having knowledge of like where the items are and stuff. So
I totally agree.
Yeah,
totally agree.
It's a shame.
Yeah, but I totally agree. But I feel like in these races, it doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah, there's not a lot of opportunity for changing your strats.
Yeah, because like it's not like you're gaining information and like so you can improve your own. It's just like, as I said, like you can pace yourself differently and do different stuff, but it's not like you're doing different strats to make you run better. It's probably to make you do your run slower, or like, oh, I'm like 10 seconds behind before the final boss, I need to YOLO or something.
So we're seeing Joe starting the second dragon, and Prak is finishing up Haunted Woods Silver Coin Challenge. So now we get an idea of just how far ahead Joe is finally.
Yes, they're actually syncing up here. So Joe is less ahead than we might have thought. Well, he probably lost a bunch of time here in. I think it's a bit about the same. We should be good because he's 20 seconds into this race. You will see like a 20-second cutscene or so. So he's about like 45 seconds ahead. Yeah, that's about what he was before.
You called it.
Yeah.
It's almost like you know a thing or two about this game.
Yeah, almost as if I have ran this game on and off for 4 years.
So there's not too much game left for Prak to catch up. We lost the big opportunity for that to happen in Windmill Plains. Is there anything else to look up for coming up on Future Funland?
Yeah, I mean, Future Funland is hard. And also, do you know the cutscene skips things you saw Joe do? That applies automatically in Future Funland.
No boss.
Because there's no middle boss, like you don't have a boss in between. So as soon as you finish the regular race, the coin race loads. What they did is like they just increased the balloon count on the outside because they didn't think you would do the cutscene skip thing. So yeah. Missing those is like 12 seconds. A 12-second time loss by just missing one of those cutscene skips. So, yeah, and we have a Spaceport Alpha, which has an out of bounds, and you do that track 3 times. And also, Wizpeak 2, the final boss, is also an out of bounds glitch. So you obviously can lose a lot of time in a lot of places. And the first level, Spaceport Alpha, no, Spaceless Alley, is the most difficult track in the game, according to most people. So that's a track where you can lose a lot of time. So yeah.
Even if time, Prak with a really nasty crash came to a complete halt there.
Pretty nasty. 127 is a rough race time in that race.
So the almighty Wizpig has been restored. Creepily has an animation where he animates and comes to life.
Both are in simply as a
Yep.
Fiesel. They are Mockcom. Their routes have converged now. They were diverged from the start, but now they are converged. So they are on the exact same route now.
Yep, and that's how you know that Joe is about 40 seconds ahead or so. There's a lot of cutscenes that kind of add up to more time than you'd think. Joe in the water a little bit there, though.
Yeah, losing time.
Actually in second place.
Yeah, but it's only the first lap. He's gonna pass him here easy, as you can see. There's no problem. I've actually tried this race a bit to see how many zippers you can miss, and I have beaten. There are 18 zippers in the track, and I have beaten Wizpig with 5. So you can miss 13 zippers and still beat him. But obviously, you can't miss any 13 because some of them are better. Like that, you see how fast that was.
Yeah.
22:65 is a super good second lap. So yeah.
Also answering a question from the sort of the technical side of things, both players are streaming their own gameplays out to their own channels, and then we're just capturing both, putting this nice lovely frame, putting our names in the bottom left corner, and then streaming that out here on this channel.
Yep.
So Joe across the finish line for Wizpig 1.
Yes, and he will restart the cutscene here. Restart the radio console, I mean, because it's really weird. But for some reason, you see that when they beat bosses, like normally, they reset the console. They restart immediately after they beat the race, because in the boss races, the win saves 1 frame later than in normal races. But for some reason in Wizpig, it saves when the next cutscene starts. So you can't, like, it's here, finish, and
It goes all the way out.
Yeah, you need to finish it out, and when the next cutscene starts, yeah, you hear like the sound, oh, and then they restart.
Yep. And then JoeDamillio crashing into this board with the 4 trophies, which is what kind of triggers this extra section of the game.
Yep. The Last World, Future Funland.
I was talking earlier about how when I first played this game, it was a rental, and I absolutely loved it. And I found this on my own, no guides, no game facts, nothing. I drove into that board, this cutscene happened, and suddenly I was in space with more races, and it blew my mind.
IRL PogChamp.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really cool. Wow, Prakcity with a bonk. He's honking in
Giving us
frustration.
the horn, yep.
Okay, so this Space Dust Alley is an insanely difficult level. Very fast-paced plane track, and it has basically no backups. So if you do like a bonk, which is extremely painful and punishing in the plane, you can't basically back it up with anything. You just have to accept a huge time loss every time. So yeah, very difficult level. And you see, Joe is going really safe here. He doesn't want to make any mistakes, I don't think. Because usually you see that he was using the boost there. If you want to do it optimally fast, you want to do like barrel rolls into there and delay the boost so you can keep the boost for a longer time. But I understand him. Might as well just take it a little easier.
Right, yeah, this is a race. You're racing against your opponent, not your personal best or the record or anything, so...
That's right.
Strats like that definitely can pay off. Ooh, there it is. Perfect
like
example.
Yep.
You're not going to have a boost waiting to bail you out.
Yep, so that's the thing about this level. Can punish you really hard. And as you can see, he's going to get like a 124 or so here. And like 125 was his final time. And the world record for that level by Obio is a 109.
Wow.
So that says like a lot about how fast that this level can go, but it's super punishing. So usually in a 100% run, you don't really go 100% YOLO. If your name is not Obio. Oh, look at this. Prakcity.
Yep. It's ugly.
And that's that's the essence of this game, basically. Or like this track is the word is so not the worst, but it's the most punishing one out of all levels. I mean, of course, the out of bounds glitches and stuff can punish you more, but it's
This
more
is
obvious
just
why.
racing, right? This is
Yes.
this is all what the developers intended. That was a hell of a crash from Joe.
Yep. But yeah, this is a classic example of how this track can treat you, or usually treats you, basically. Yeah, the difference though, Nordic, is that Obio basically always places well, and no one else does. And as you can see, both of them got the loop. Both of them got the cuts and skips, so they got into the coin race immediately.
Yeah, that is important.
Yeah,
It happened, and I forgot to point it out.
Yeah, but it's 12 seconds or so every time.
Yeah, that's probably bigger than any single crash here on this difficult track.
Yeah, it is for sure. 1:35. That's a rough time for Joe. Like usually, if you want to like you get a decent time, you usually get like around 1:25 or so. So he basically lost like 10 seconds there. But I'm not sure. Prakcity is, he's on better pace for this level as of now. But you know, this is another lap of this hell. So.
Also, not to mention, is it as hard as it looks to touch down on the ground zipper with the plane in that first sequence?
Yeah, it's kind of difficult because since you're going that fast, sometimes the zipper doesn't register. It's annoying.
JoeDamillio into what is my favorite track, I think, Darkmoon Caverns.
Darkmoon Caverns. Don't say that near a bio because it's his favorite too, and you'd never want to agree with the bio.
No? Okay.
No, I'm kidding. It's my main rival in this game.
Oh, I got it. I got
one
you.
of his favorite tracks.
I take it back. I hate this track.
Exactly. That's good. The Obio, the world record holder currently for this category.
Coming out of the loops and crashing a little bit there is Joe.
And also interesting to note, I'm not sure if you talked about that, but the world record was broken only a couple of days ago. 3 days ago? Yeah, 3 days ago.
Oh no, I did not mention. That is cool.
Yeah, because this, like, the night between Sunday and Monday, a huge glitch was found in this game, which basically means that we could potentially lower the time by a minute 20 in 100% and in any percent. So basically everyone's PBs got obsolete.
Oh, yeah.
This very week.
It happens. But here's the thing, people remember. If you have a really good time before something like that is discovered, people still remember that run you had. That's one of my favorite parts about this community.
Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, so, but we have a new world record. It was a 150.18, but now it's a 149.03.
Yeah, that is a big improvement.
Yep. And the run is technically not better. Like
right, yeah, it just makes use of this new thing.
Yeah. Very difficult. Like, it's a RNG based trick as well, which is super annoying. Like, you know.
Speedrun.
Yeah. But that's
so
what
Joe
happens.
is back in the Dino domain.
Oh yeah, I didn't mention it, but he missed the cut skip, so he had to go to Dino domain. Yeah, it's a 50% chance, and you can retry it every like 9 seconds or so. Prakcity is going the wrong way there. Oh yeah, okay, so it's because he wanted to grab the coin. It's a weird strat to do though on the first lap. But yeah, as you can see, like he really didn't want to miss that.
Yep.
As you were mentioning earlier, like is there other coins? Yeah. We got a good proof right there.
It could be just like a peace of mind thing, like you worrying about that coin for the rest of the race could be distracting and cost you time in lots of ways. So
yeah, but
spend a bit of time up front to get it taken care of.
Yeah, but as I said, like he missed the cut and skip, Joe. So he lost like 12 seconds to Prakcity or so there. The main problem with this for us now is that they're off sync. Because now he can't enter Darkmoon Caverns until later. So they're going to be one race off sync.
We'll just have to make do as viewers.
Yep. Next, you said X-Released. That's exactly what we feel. That's a good race from Prakcity. 141, that's solid. So yeah. So let's see which warp they get here. It doesn't really matter too much which warp they get here. Like Overworld saves like 4 seconds or so over a Dragon Car, and the Dragon Car saves like 2-3 seconds over Dragon Plane. So optimally they want the Overworld warp and they do not want the Dragon Plane. I mean, it's an 80% chance that they get the Dragon Car warp, which is like the mid alternative. So, yeah.
We'll see in a little bit. In the case of Joe, he's entered Hot Top Volcano.
Yes, that's right.
He's got his boost.
Yep, and he's the only runner that doesn't use the map. You see, he's using the speedometer even if he's out of bounds. Yeah, Dragon Car. That's the most expected one. So pretty interesting with Joe there, because when he's out of bounds, he's counting barrel rolls to see his position. So like he never uses the minimap. He just he counts the amount of barrels he does, and it's very rare that people do that. I don't. I just use the minimap to see if I'm doing well or not. But he's counting.
Yeah, it sounds almost like one of those setups in Ocarina of Time where you're like, you bounce off the wall and you side roll twice, and you know, you barrel roll twice, turn left, right.
Yeah, a little bit like that. I would say so. So he's just using the speedometer instead to see that he doesn't drop in speed.
Except for right now, where he's got the map out.
Yeah, and you see here, this is an out of bounds trick they're gonna do here in Space Alpha. Because here, this is a Japanese version exclusive trick. Because this is how they bounce or like land on top of that thing on the side, and in the Japanese version only, it actually is missing a texture. So you can just drive out of bounds if you. Yeah, it's not super easy to do, but it's not the most difficult thing you can do. Exclusive.exe, exactly, exclusive.
Yeah, it is kind of funny that there's clearly just like a hole in the map that is, you know, easy to miss if you're not looking for it, but it's there.
Yep, it's there. And the Japanese version was the first released one, and it's the patch in the other versions. So it's pretty interesting. Also, the wrong warp is something that exists on all the versions, but it works differently on all of them. And it's most beneficial on the Japanese version, because then you get those 3 alternatives we were talking about. But in the 1.1 version of the PAL version or the NTSC US version, you will only get to the overworld. And in the 1.0 versions of PAL and NTSCU, you will crash the game. So yeah, well, if you have the 1.0 version, don't do the wrong work because it will crash again.
So did something happen to Joe? Because it looked like he restarted.
No. So what happened is that he did the race for the trophy first.
Oh, okay.
So he beat the level, and then he got the trophy, and then he re-entered.
Got it.
Because since this level has an out of bounds, it's the fastest race to do for the trophy. But now he will try to get the cut and skip here. And he did.
This one matters, and he gets it.
Yes.
So now the 3rd time for the silver coins now.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see, because Prakcity is... Okay, let's see if it gets out of bounds. It shouldn't be, like, these are top players. It shouldn't be a problem with this trick. It's usually, like, I would say that top players are basically like 99% accurate with that trick.
Oh wow.
It's yeah, so much experience with it, so much practice, and yeah, it looks pretty tough, and it is a little tough, but at this level, players are they're like good enough to basically never miss. At least I would say at least 95% accurate with it.
Well, they'll prove that mostly. They're 3 in a row on both players.
3 in a row for Joe, 1 for Prakcity. Since he has only done 1. Yeah, I mean, if you're not Nordic Boa, then your consistency is always less than 50%. Nordic Boa in chat is the time trial overall champion in this game.
Cool.
Yeah. So he has extremely high, like his skill level is super high, but his consistency is lacking sometimes.
Oh, because you're constantly resetting for like the perfect run on the time trials. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm a consistent sort of player. I hate resetting. I mean, no one likes resetting, but I especially hate it. So I never reset. I play out every single run, and so I'm very consistent and don't have the best time.
Yeah, that's how some runners do. We have some runners like that in Diddy Racing too. Even though Diddy Racing is a very inconsistent game, it's really quick and stuff like that. Nordic, I love resetting.
I love resetting. You have to if you want to go for the very top on the time trials.
That's right. What happens if you go to Silicon Race? It still will happen. It's like the same. That you will still keep the trophy storage, and if you beat the level, you'll get the points. But you actually don't need to collect the coins. So if you enter the coin race, it's not good to do it. But if you accidentally do enter a race in the coin race while in the trophy, you can just finish it normally and get the first place and get the points.
JoeDamillio doing pretty good, I think, in Star City.
Yeah, but missed the cuts and skip. Prakcity gets it. They got the out of bounds glitch every single time, both of them.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah. So
100%.
Yep. And now you see Joe go back to Darkmoon Caverns. No, you can never do. You will get either or. That's always the case with SAS. Either or, every time. So either the trophy race win or a coin race win. Or this is the same with every single race you do. So like if you do it for a normal track, you will not get the balloon for it. If you do something with a mini game, no. But as you can see here, Prakcity missed the coin when he got back in bounds. Because he got out of bounds in the first lap, so he was missing some coins. So he needs to go back in bounds at the end there, which this is the fastest strat, but he missed one of